Today we're going to talk about nuclear energy. The first question came to my mind. Is nuclear energy actually considered green? I thought it was controversial.
It depends on what you mean by green. Experts group nuclear with low-carbon energy because its life cycle emissions are just 12 grams of CO2 per kilowatt-hour, similar to wind and far below fossil fuels, and because it runs 24 hours a day providing reliable baseload power.
So why do some people still not call it green?
Because green means more than just low carbon to many people. The concerns are radioactive waste needing long-term management, a small but high-consequence accident risk, and local environmental impacts from mining and construction. Whether nuclear is green comes down to how you weigh those against its climate benefits.
Let us step back. What actually is nuclear energy?
Nuclear energy is energy stored in atomic nuclei. In today's power plants we use fission, splitting heavy uranium atoms to release heat, which drives steam turbines and generates electricity.
Is that the same process used in nuclear weapons?
The same fission reaction, yes, but in a reactor it is carefully controlled to release heat steadily, whereas in a weapon it is deliberately uncontrolled, producing an instantaneous explosive release.
Can you walk me through the exact steps of a fission chain reaction?
There are 5 steps. First, neutron bombardment. A low-energy neutron is fired at a uranium-235 nucleus. Second, absorption and instability. The nucleus absorbs it, becoming highly unstable uranium-236. Third, the split. It breaks into 2 smaller atoms, typically barium and krypton.
And the final 2 steps?
Fourth, energy and neutron release. A massive burst of energy is produced simultaneously with 2 or 3 ejected neutrons. Fifth, the chain reaction. Those neutrons strike neighboring uranium nuclei, triggering further splits and sustaining the process.
Why does the neutron need to be low energy for step 1?
Because uranium-235 is fissile, it readily splits when struck by a slow neutron. A fast neutron tends to bounce off rather than be absorbed. Think of throwing a bullet at a target. Too fast and it glances off, at the right speed it embeds itself.
And what changes in the nucleus during step 2?
The U-235 absorbs the neutron and becomes uranium-236. That extra neutron makes the nucleus so unstable it starts oscillating violently, like a water droplet grown too large to hold its shape, and within a fraction of a second it tears apart.
How much energy does the split actually release?
Enormous amounts relative to the mass involved, roughly 50 million times more energy than burning a single carbon atom. The energy comes from mass-to-energy conversion. The products weigh fractionally less than the original atom, and that missing mass becomes pure energy via E equals mc squared.
And how is the chain reaction kept under control?
The goal is to keep exactly 1 neutron from each fission triggering the next, a critical state. Control rods, which absorb neutrons, are inserted or withdrawn to maintain that precise balance.
How exactly do control rods work?
Control rods are made from neutron-absorbing materials like boron. Pushing them deeper into the core absorbs more neutrons and slows the reaction. Pulling them out allows more neutrons to reach uranium and increases power.
What happens in an emergency?
A SCRAM, an emergency shutdown, drops all control rods simultaneously into the core, absorbing the vast majority of neutrons and smothering the chain reaction within seconds.
What do moderators do in a reactor?
A moderator slows neutrons down. When uranium splits it ejects fast neutrons, but U-235 captures slow neutrons far more readily than fast ones. The moderator, usually water or graphite, surrounds the fuel and slows those fast neutrons through multiple collisions until they become thermal neutrons that can trigger the next fission.
So without a moderator the reaction would die out?
In most reactor designs, yes. Without slowing the neutrons, too few would be captured by uranium and the chain reaction could not sustain itself.
What is the negative void coefficient safety feature?
It is a built-in self-correcting mechanism in light water reactors. At normal temperature, water moderates neutrons efficiently. If the reactor overheats, the water turns to steam, which is far less dense, so fewer neutrons are slowed, fewer reach uranium, and the fission rate drops automatically.
So the reactor applies its own brakes without operator intervention?
Exactly. It is a passive safety feature. The physics itself provides the correction, requiring no human or mechanical action.
What are the 5 core physical components of a nuclear reactor?
First, the fuel, ceramic uranium pellets in metal fuel rods. Second, the moderator, which slows neutrons to sustain the reaction. Third, control rods, which absorb neutrons to regulate power and enable shutdown.
And the last 2?
Fourth, the coolant, usually water, which carries heat from the core to generate steam and drive turbines. Fifth, the containment structure, thick steel and concrete that acts as the final safety barrier against any radioactive release.
What is nuclear energy actually used for beyond electricity?
Electricity generation is primary. Nuclear provides steady high-capacity output around the clock. In some countries, it also supplies high-temperature steam for industrial processes.
Are there emerging uses?
Yes, district heating and hydrogen production. District heating pipes waste heat to nearby homes and businesses, while hydrogen production uses nuclear electricity or heat to split water into clean hydrogen fuel. Both are increasingly discussed as part of net zero strategies.
How does nuclear energy compare in cost to other sources? Nuclear economics are dominated by upfront capital costs rather than running costs. Plants require enormous concrete and steel structures, specialized labor, and strict safety compliance, all before generating a single unit of electricity. Does the long construction time make it worse?
Yes. Build times of 7 to 15 years mean interest accumulates throughout construction. Once operating, fuel costs are very low and plants can run for 60 years, which significantly improves the long-term economics.
How long does it take to build a nuclear power plant?
For a large conventional plant, 7 to 15 years from site licensing to grid connection, covering design approvals, financing, construction, and commissioning.
Is Hinkley Point C a good example?
A very clear one. Construction started in the mid-2020s with completion estimated around 2030, later than originally planned. Multiple delays illustrate how first-of-a-kind projects routinely run over time and budget.
What are the main reactor types?
The most common is the pressurized water reactor. Water kept under high pressure transfers heat to a separate steam circuit. The boiling water reactor lets water boil directly in the vessel. The UK historically used advanced gas-cooled reactors, graphite-moderated and CO2-cooled. CANDU reactors use heavy water and can run on unenriched uranium.
And the newer modular designs?
Small modular reactors are factory-built units of 50 to 300 megawatts, cheaper and faster to deploy. Advanced modular reactors use alternative coolants like molten salt. Microreactors at 1 to 10s of megawatts are designed for remote or off-grid locations.
Why are small modular reactors attracting so much interest?
SMRs and microreactors can serve remote or off-grid locations where large plants are impractical. Their smaller size could enable quicker construction and deployment compared to conventional nuclear. Most designs are still pre-deployment. Licensing is complex. Some require HALEU fuel that is not yet widely available, and whether the economics work at small scale is unproven. Promising, but not yet commercially mature.
What does the UK nuclear landscape look like today?
As of 2026, operating stations include Torness, Hartlepool, Heysham 1 and 2, Sizewell B, and Dungeness B, providing around 15% of UK electricity. Hunterston B and Hinkley Point B are in decommissioning.
What is the long-term target?
The UK aims for 24 gigawatts of nuclear capacity by 2050, nearly 4 times the current 6.5 gigawatts, through new large plants and a fleet of SMRs. Nuclear is central to the plan for a reliable, low-carbon grid.
So nuclear has a major role in UK energy policy going forward.
A very significant one. Whether that ambition translates into gigawatts on time will be the defining question for UK energy over the next 25 years.
What drives the high cost of building nuclear power stations?
Nuclear economics are dominated by upfront capital and financing. Massive concrete and steel structures, specialized labor, and rigorous safety requirements all add cost, before generating a single unit of electricity.
Does the long build time make it even more expensive?
Significantly. Interest accumulates on borrowed capital throughout the 7 to 15-year construction period. First-of-a-kind builds tend to overrun most. Once operating, though, fuel costs are very low and plants can run for 60 years.
How long does it realistically take to build a large nuclear plant?
The full process, from site licensing through to grid connection, typically takes 7 to 15 years, covering early development, financing, construction, commissioning, and grid connection.
Is Hinkley Point C a good real-world example?
A very clear one. Construction started in the mid-2020s with completion estimated around 2030, significantly delayed from original plans, illustrating how first-of-a-kind projects in the UK routinely run over time and budget.
What are the main reactor types and newer modular designs?
The pressurized water reactor is the most common globally. The boiling water reactor lets water boil directly inside the vessel. The UK's historic advanced gas-cooled reactor is graphite-moderated and CO2-cooled, a uniquely British design.
And the newer directions.
Small modular reactors are factory-built and 50 to 300 megawatts, cheaper and faster to deploy. Advanced modular reactors use alternative coolants for higher temperatures and new uses. Microreactors at 1 to tens of megawatts are designed for remote and military locations.
Why is there so much excitement around microreactors?
They can serve remote or off-grid locations where large plants are impractical, enable quicker deployment, and provide combined heat and power locally, boosting overall energy efficiency.
What are the main obstacles?
Most designs are still pre-deployment. Licensing is complex, HALEU fuel supply is not yet available at scale, and small-scale economics remain unproven. Promising, but not commercially mature yet.
What does the UK nuclear landscape look like today, and what are the future plans?
As of 2026, operating stations include Torness, Hartlepool, Heysham 1 and 2, Sizewell B, and Dungeness B, providing roughly 15% of UK electricity. Hunterston B and Hinkley Point B are in decommissioning.
What is the long-term target?
The UK aims to reach 24 gigawatts of nuclear capacity by 2050, nearly 4 times the current 6.5 gigawatts, by completing Hinkley Point C and deploying new SMRs. Nuclear is central to a reliable, low-carbon grid by 2050.
So nuclear has a major role in UK energy policy going forward.
A very significant one. Whether that ambition translates into gigawatts on time will be the defining question for UK energy over the next 25 years.
Thank you for joining us today. This nuclear energy lesson is brought to you by tutorwarren.com, an innovative learning resources platform.